Hi everyone, welcome back. Since the truck is now at my shop, we have to move on to phase 2, which is finding all the stuff. Please ignore the glowing blue light on my forehead because that's my microphone, but thank you guys so much for watching. I greatly appreciate every single one of you who's come along on these rides with me. Especially all the new people who've shown up. Thank you guys for coming and hanging out. If you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so because that is the biggest way for me to get this channel up in the charts, up in the algorithms, and get a little bit more headway in trying to grow this thing. And it'll also give me a better opportunity to get Google, who owns YouTube, to give me the ad revenue that they owe me for using my intellectual property to sell you guys ads. Sorry about that, but I do need that money to get projects going. So it is what it is. And there's another way for you to support the channel by not only sharing it and doing whatever you can for free. You can also go to GleasonBrosRacing.com and buy your merch. I'll give you a full merch plug later, but for now, I think I got to get to cleaning up this shop because we got to go find all the stuff that we need to get this thing mechanically put together. Well, that didn't take long. I found the engine and transmission. Not like I found it. We already knew it was there the whole time. So we got that. Luckily, they're already bolted together. They're not connected, but they are bolted together. I could stick that in my truck now. And I do have a little bit of waning daylight, so we do have to kind of get moving on finding this stuff. Oh, we got to get the steering stuff. That's out of a square body pickup truck. That might be pretty good to use. So there's that. I got to go search pretty much everywhere. I mean, this area here hasn't seen the light of day in 20-something years, so it's kind of crazy that I have to go search through all this crap. Plus, I should probably put a broom to the floor here because they were all gracious enough for me to tear the shop up, so I might as well put a broom to it and try to clean it up a little bit while I'm here. But what we really should do is we should go outside because I know there's a bunch of parts out there. We should go take a look and see what we can find. See if the door, I was going to say works. Definitely not. Ah, dang it. Maybe a little force will help. Nope, not enough. I don't know why I gotta... Oh, god dang it. What is this, a vaudeville play? Let's go here. I might as well just do this myself. Come on, give me the light of day. Okay. Whew. I adjusted it so it wouldn't bottom itself out and get stuck anymore. Now it doesn't open all the way. Close enough. Okay, so behind the shop I've got this, which is pretty much everything for inner fender wells, radiator support, front grille, hood latch, all sorts of stuff. These fenders are kind of shot though. I think some stuff fell on them over the years. They never were off the truck all the time, but once they started getting work done on it with my dad, it kind of went outside and then kind of stayed here. So we'll have to load those up, but loading that up is going to be kind of difficult. I probably can't get that in the truck bed with the motor, so I might have to borrow their utility trailer for this one. Also, I might as well go attach these forks because that might help pick this thing up. Maybe I could strap it and like use the forks and pick it up or something. Well, we'll try that first. And again, we're kind of at the point where I don't think I really need to bring everything with me at this moment. But if I bring all the stuff to make it mostly mechanically sound, then we can come back and get all the rest of it. But like, do I really need the front clip today, or do I need the engine and all sorts of stuff, or do I want to make multiple trips? That's kind of half of the battle here, is trying to figure out if I want to take multiple trips. Like, I got a nicer set of fenders over here, but I'm not sure if I want to bring those or use the original ones that were originally on the truck. Because I think I showed you these before in the last video. I got these. They have been patched, but they don't look too bad. Granted, you know, they aren't perfect, but they're not bad either. So I think somebody skim coated them. Got another set over here. And the creepy sinking metal shed. Yeah, I got to get in here somehow, see what I can get out of here. Matter of fact, I'm already here. The trees are literally starting to grow back from years of neglect. Okay, what do we got in here? Oh, those are big 6-lug wheels. Problem is, I'm not going to be 6-lug anymore, probably. I don't know what that bench seat came out of, but it looks way too new to be out of a 51 Chevy truck. And I don't know where the bench seat for the Chevy truck went, because I didn't pay attention long enough to whatever my dad was doing with it. So, I don't really want to go in there because I don't know if I'm going to fall through it. Okay, so there's a trick to closing this. You got to get it closed, hold it, and then... There we go. I don't have a clue if there's anything in the shed. I don't know what these wheels are. Yeah, apparently the window... Nope. Okay, so apparently, according to that tag, they're 5 on 4 3/4. That ain't gonna work. I don't think there's anything down here I could use. Or that's for the truck. Not like I could really tell. Nope. This place has more insulation than my garage, and it's not even put in. So, I'm kind of doubting there's something in here, so I think we'll just kind of retreat. If anybody wants a 1990 Chevy with 2 racing wheels on it, hit me up. I might need this trailer. I forgot about this. Anybody need a front clip for a Malibu? A G chassis Malibu? Hit me up. We're trying to get rid of this, and I'd rather see it gone than scrapped. Random motor, and looks like turbo 350 transmission. Oh. Well, I found the original front end out of the truck. Oh, that is heavy. I'm not touching that thing. The hell with it. I'm not even going to use it, so why bother? If anybody wants a front axle, steering, suspension, everything out of a 51 Chevy truck that's original, hit me up again. So at this point, I'm kind of thinking that we have pretty much everything I'm going to need at this very moment. I was going to grab that rear end, but made a little design tweak to my dad's ideas here, and I'm going to put a Ford 9-inch that I have probably in it, since we were able to find the bearings last episode. And I just need the motor and transmission and whatever I find in the shop, really. I don't think I need a heck of a lot more than this. So let's just start loading things up. Not sure if I'm going to grab the clip today or not, because I'm really not going to need it. Maybe I'll come back for that at another date, but still need the motor and transmission to get a lot of this stuff done. Well, engine transmission is in. I strapped it down, I guess. I think it's ready. I found my carburetor that I was going to use for it. It's not really what I wanted to use, but it's something that came off an old F350 that I had. It's an old Edelbrock 1400, so it's like a vacuum secondary 600 CFM 4-barrel. It'll probably work fine on an old truck motor, so it's not going to be too, hot roddy, I guess. But I noticed that carburetor, I'd rebuilt it, and I took it off my old F350 because I had like a 351M in that thing and a C6, and it would tow at about 2 miles to the gallon. So I got rid of that truck and bought my Dodge, which is way better. And that carburetor, it just never ran right, and I'm like, wonder what's wrong with it. So I rebuilt the carburetor, and then I looked at the idle mixture screws, and they were out like 3.5 or 4 turns. just garbage. So we'll reset that carburetor before we put it on. All the transfer slots look really bad too. They're like really long and not squared off. And I'm like, no. Hopefully it'll work when I actually do that, unless I'll be on Temu getting a 750 double pumper Holley knockoff. That probably doesn't work. But anyway, I got the most important stuff loaded up. And that stuff will give me a lot of, at least something to do while I wait for parts to show up, which I have to go upstairs and order. I've been waffling a lot on parts, and I'm like, oh, do I really want to do this? Do I really want to do that? And it's at this point where everyone is going to hit this point when you have your own project. What you got to do is basically just make a decision. Even if it's the wrong one in the long run, that was hard to say. Just make a decision. Right now, I think I'm just going to go buy parts. I've got a rear end kit, like a rear suspension kit that I kind of picked out for what I wanted to do. It's going to be a 4-inch drop on it, but that's okay. I'll put a 3-inch drop in the front. Maybe it'll even out. I'm going to go buy rear end parts for a 4 9-inch, because since I found those axle bearings, I'm going to go buy those. This is going to hurt. So wish me luck. I'm going to go buy parts, and I'll see you guys at some point. Okay, it is a few days later, and it is still a balmy 24 degrees outside. I am in the shop. We got to get the motor and transmission out of the truck. I do want to pull the transmission off, and I want to get the pan off of it so that I can at least see what we're up against. But I found something kind of interesting. I walked up to the truck, and I was putting my gloves down because I had to go film, but I looked at the old heater core pipes that are sitting out of this thing, which are these things, which look like just copper pipe. But look at this. There's antifreeze in there. I bet that antifreeze has been in there 20-something years, which is hilarious. So, I didn't expect that. I don't know how I'm going to get this engine and transmission out, because I have to deal with the ground. Now, other times of the year, this would kind of be difficult, especially with it not being as cold lately. But now that it's really cold, the ground's frozen, so it might actually help us. But it's also really cold out, and my diesel truck hates the cold. Again, it's 20-something degrees out. I was going to fire it up, roll it back with the engine hoist over here, of course. Just pick it with the engine hoist, and then drive the truck out from underneath it and try to swing it back in here. But at this point, I didn't plug my truck in. I don't have anything. It's not warmed at all. It's going to really fight warming up. And cold starting a diesel and then shutting it off after only a couple minutes would really kind of stink. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try to muscle it over here and hope that it works, because I have a pneumatic ram on this thing, and it does not work in the cold either. You know, that concrete pad idea really wouldn't be bad. Have a nice extension poured so that I could do stuff like this without worrying about the dirt. Okay, let's watch this not work because it's below freezing by a lot. Don't you love the cold? Nah, I don't. Hang on. Let's see if this even helps a little. You know, it's funny, I was trying to use my cutoff wheel the other day, and it absolutely would not work. Because it was so cold out, the thing just disagreed with me the whole time. That probably did nothing, but whatever. I'm hoping that it soaks into the metal and we can actually, like, warm it up a little bit instead of, like, burning the heck out of it. better than it was. Well, let's see if it moves. Well, not too bad, actually. You know, it's kind of funny. Those center casters I broke off because it was stuck in frozen earth once. And I don't know my own strength, apparently. Okay, let's see how bad this is. It's working. I bet you we could drag it out of there that way. I bet you we can't drag it out of there that way. Okay, we're gonna have to bar this. Even that's not working. Oh, maybe a little. Okay, I'm gonna spend the remainder of my life doing this, and I'll let you know if I ever get it back in the shop. Well, we managed to get it inside eventually, and you'll notice that the door is shut because I'm really over being cold. So I got the heat on. It's better than nothing. I already feel better. I'm actually gonna kind of dig into this motor and see what's up. I wanted to pull the valve covers off and see if it's got anything in there like mouse nests or anything like that, because mice get in everywhere. And I'm really concerned with the insides of the motor too. I do see a little bit of weird debris in there. And if you get a mouse nest inside your engine, that's bad. So literally have to take the whole damn thing apart. However, you know what's cool? This thing's kind of ugly looking, but we'll make it better. My uncle gave me these. He gave me a bunch of parts that I could probably use for this truck project, and they've just been sitting on a shelf just forever. Check this out. I think these are new old stock. Look at that. Flea market find. Chrome. I think these are probably from the 70s or 80s. Look at that. Oh, damn it, they're a little rusty. That's okay. I'll use them anyway. Nice old Edelbrock valve covers. That'll be cool. Maybe I'll just polish them up a little bit, spit shine them with some steel wool or something. But they're really cool. They got all new breather stuff in it. I could probably put something nice in there. So we'll throw those on, but I got to throw a wrench to these valve cover bolts that are on it right now and get these valve covers off and see what's in there besides all the poop that's on it right now that I'm probably going to throw some glasses on and blow off because gross. Also, you'll notice that the transmission is complete cake. It is just disgusting. It's thick with goop, grease, dirt. Just looks like it's been run. I would love to have taken that and actually cleaned it off, but since it's 25 degrees out and all my water would freeze, we're probably not going to do that. So let me go dig up my Temu boroscope that plugs into my phone and totally doesn't stay in my phone, so I have to use like 3 hands to do it and get this thing checked out. All right, let's dive into this thing a little bit. I blew all the poop off of it and whatever was sitting on it. Something's telling me, and you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but something's telling me somebody's been into this engine at some point. It's got this dual plane wind intake on it, so that's not factory. So clearly somebody's been in it. All right, let's take a peek in here. Wow, that is clean. It's less clean now that I just dropped a whole bunch of crap into it on my own. Wow. This thing's super clean. What kind of heads are on it? Can I see? 882. All right. Yeah, I remember that kind of cylinder head. Back when we started racing circle tracks in about 1999 or 2000, the 882 was kind of the hot head that people had to have. Until we started finding other heads like 487Xs and stuff. But these were kind of the hot thing to do for a few years. I wouldn't say they're really that great, but Everything is really super clean in here. Look at this thing. Not an ounce of sludge. There's still oil in it. For sitting for 20 years, this looks great. Springs have, let's see. Oh, we got some dampeners in there. So that tells me these aren't newer heads, which I already knew, but dampeners, instead of just the regular single valve springs, are indicator of an older head, which we knew 882 kind of was. It's not a Vortec head or anything. And they're a little bit better at higher RPMs because of the dampeners. Now, we're not going to get this thing revving up a lot. It is a truck engine, but it's not like you're dead at 4,800 RPMs. So let's just put it that way. All right, let's see. What's that? Really nothing. Just kind of dirt. These are incredibly clean heads. So this thing has definitely been gone through at some point. That's really cool. And it's the same number? Okay, good. Yeah, I had to check. They are the same number. I'm going to have to check the valve lash on these. I'm pretty sure some of these valves have probably been open for 20 years, which kind of stinks. But I know that if I roll the motor over, it does spin. So let's put these valve covers back on it. Let's see. What else is wrong with this? Okay, so it's got a thermostat in there. That means the mice didn't get in. And the water pump has never been off. So the mice didn't get into the water either. So that's awesome. And these, since this hole is open, it does have that little baffle in it though. So mice couldn't get in there either. So as long as the distributor hole stayed closed, and I'm pretty sure there was a golf ball on there at some point. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that was able to stay closed. Looking at the timing cover, there's goop on it. That's been open, clearly. So somebody has been into this engine. To what extent, I don't know. But they've been into it all the way around it. So that's kind of interesting. I'd love to see what this thing has for, like, valve lift in it. It's always fun to go through engines and stuff like this just to see what was in there, especially if you didn't put it together yourself. But this will be really good, I think. Especially because I've seen way worse go through and just get plopped into cars and just run. This thing is super clean, on the inside at least. So it should work just fine. We'll probably put a wrench to everything, make sure all the fasteners are tight, like on the intake and everything. But what I'm really concerned about, not the engine. And I did pull the dipstick on the engine. It does have oil in it. And there is a dipstick provision. I do need to kind of hammer that thing all the way in. What I'm worried about is the transmission, because that thing looks quite used. So I've been working on this thing, trying to get her just kind of eyeballed, make sure that things are working properly. I did take a wrench and put it on the front bolt here, and I rolled it over, and it feels like it has this much compression. So I started taking some Marvel Mystery Oil in like a ketchup bottle and just kind of squeezing it down into the exhaust ports and just put it in all of them, made sure all the spark plugs that are in it are tight. And I started just kind of rolling the motor over, see if I could get a little bit of compression back, because it feels like there's nothing in here. Like, here's nothing. I can hear some, but I don't feel any. Nope, nothing. A little bit of something. Oh, there we go. So I think number 2 has some compression. There's a little bit. And that's it. So that's all I got on the compression front. So I'm just kind of rolling it over to make sure I get this oil kind of... Oh, there it is again. I think we got like 2 cylinders with compression. It's probably 2 and 6 because I think they're on the same bank. But I'll just let that soak for a bit. What I should also do is, since I have a dipstick for this, this has oil in it, and I checked the dipstick for oil. And if you take a look, it actually doesn't even look that bad. You can almost see through it. See, it's almost not even that bad. It looks like it got run for a few miles and then put away with a decent amount of oil in it. So, and that thing's not even seated down all the way, so it's probably even more full than that. Let's pull this out Let's see what that says. Well, the fluid is red. It's not brown. It's not black. It smells burnt. So I'm still kind of on the fence about the transmission at this point. Is it junk? Can we run it and rebuild it at a later date? Should I just rebuild it now? I don't really know. What I want to do is I'd love to pull it off, check out the pan, see if there's any material in it, like clutch material, and see how bad it looks. I don't know how long it's been on there for, if somebody else has had it off or not. And just kind of take a look and just evaluate it from there. I don't know. I guess we'll figure it out, but I'm still waiting on parts, and I need to get this ball rolling. I can't sit here anymore. I've got all the rear end parts coming, but they might not be here until next week. So I'm trying to get rid of this stuff and get this job done so that I can figure out if the motor's any good and if the transmission's any good before I shove it in. So if it at least has a little bit of hope, then that's good enough for me. But I'm still kind of on the fence about both. Well, that could have gone a lot better. At least I didn't completely murder the floor with transmission fluid. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I opened this thing up, and I thought it might have smelled burnt before. But now it smells like, and call me crazy, but it smells like Marvel Mystery Oil. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing with regards to transmission fluid. And I do have some Marvel in a very small puddle right here. But I don't think that would overpower the smell of this transmission fluid at this point. I got to get the pan all the way off. I was letting her drain. Don't look at my setup here at all because it's not so great. I got 2 jack stands holding up the ears and one holding up the tail just so I could get underneath it. I don't have a workbench that'll be big enough for this thing, and I really didn't feel like lifting it all the way around the corner of the truck because that sucks. So I'll get the pan off. We'll take a look in her. Hope to God that this thing doesn't look so bad. Oh, it looks bad. Is this a magnet? Nope, that's sludge. Oh, geez. That is all metallic. Oh, boy. I think we're rebuilding this transmission, guys. Oh, my God. Yeah, we're rebuilding this thing. This is... Ugh. Hang on, let me just... There we go. That's just how I feel about that. I knew this would happen. Every single project I have, and I'm going to be honest with you, that you have, will have these instances. You think, well, you know what, we'll just have to slap it together and hope for the best. Then you figure out that all the stuff you have is kind of junk. This motor has like no compression, which it might come back, who knows. Transmission is more clutch material than oil in the pan, so that's even better. Now, I've rebuilt transmissions. You've seen me do it on this channel. I've rebuilt plenty of Saginaw transmissions. I've rebuilt 47 REs for Dodge trucks. Never done a Turbo 350, though. Can't be that hard. It's just that I have to make sure I do it right. I didn't really do it right the first time when I rebuilt my truck transmission because if I had just put a shift kit in it, it wouldn't have needed to be rebuilt the second time because it would have had better fluid pressure and it wouldn't have slipped as much while towing. It did last me a whole bunch of years, but now I'm looking at my workbench and I'm like, I got to fit a Turbo 350 on here too? Well, I guess I'll go inside and hit the internet again and waste more. Well, you know what? That's a really bad way to say it. We're not wasting money. We're investing in my dad's truck. And we're investing in memories, aren't we? Plus, I'm also investing in my own personal knowledge by trying to rebuild things on my own. And that's exactly what I do here, is we rebuild everything. And again, I've said this before, and for the new people who haven't been here before, welcome, by the way. I do not work in the automotive industry. I am not a mechanic. I do not even work with mechanical things. I work in logistics as a day job. And I am self-taught in everything. Now, I've put together engines. I've put together transmissions. I put together my own rear differentials as well. Rebuilding a Turbo 350 is right inside my wheelhouse. I guess we'll just have to learn. So I'm going to go inside because I'm freezing and I don't have any parts yet. But we did learn a lot of good stuff today and we can write some notes down. But I'm going to go hit the internet and see where I can find a nice cheap Turbo 350 rebuild kit because I'm going to need one now. So see you guys tomorrow. All right, it's the next day and you know what? I don't really want to waste it. Lately it's been like 25 degrees. Today it's like 45. So that's kind of a heat wave. And since it's above freezing, I might take this transmission and drag it outside, soak it down with some super clean, hit it with a pressure washer, and then flush the pressure washer out with some compressed air so it doesn't freeze again tomorrow because it's going to go back cold pretty much immediately. So I want to hurry up, get that pan bolted back on after I clean it out because it is disgusting, and get it back on just enough to keep it sealed up and drag it back outside, hit it with a pressure washer and some super clean, get the whole case cleaned off because I have a rebuild kit on the way, and I can get this thing done and we can get it back together enough to put it in the truck. And that needs to happen pretty damn soon. The only thing I'm really waiting on is the rear end parts so that we can get the rear end in the truck. Once we get that done, we can really start to move forward because then I can get the engine and transmission in. We can measure for a drive shaft because I'm probably going to need a custom one, even though I don't want it to be. But it will be very easy to get it made considering what's going to go into the rear end and this and everything. So I want to get this cleaned up. And I also got to clean up that mess as well because I might have missed a little bit when I was trying to drain it. Good enough for who it's for. Came out pretty great. You could tell that oil and cakey garbage all over it was on there for years because it kept it really clean. I didn't even know that there was a band adjuster right there. That's pretty great. So, at least now it is clean enough for me to rebuild. I've rebuilt way worse than this, and I can clean all the little spots while I go, but now I gotta focus my attention elsewhere while this dries off and I wait for a rebuild kit. I need to try to find a way to get more compression in this. We were already working on it, but a thought occurred to me. What if the valves are stuck? This thing hasn't had oil go through it for the better part of 2 decades or even more. So why don't we rip the valve covers off, put this bar back on her. I got this right here. Take both valve covers off, roll it over, take a look at the valves and see if they all actuate. If they do, well, then I guess that idea is bust. But what I can also do is I can take all the spark plugs out instead of putting Marvel Mystery Oil down in the exhaust ports. I can put it directly into the cylinder and see if that'll help. But, you know, we'll see what happens. Let's get this thing off, check it out. Valve covers are off. Spark plugs are still in, so you can see how easily this thing turns over. I think you saw that in the last video, or last day I was here, so. Huh, this one ain't moving. I really hope the cam lobe isn't wiped. I'm just really hoping that what's actually happening. Do these have screw-in? No. I thought they had screw-in rocker studs. This one's not moving. So I'm wondering if it's just compressing the rocker down. Huh. Yeah, that ain't good. Alright, so let me get my paint marker out. This is going to be a little bit of a process. What I'm going to do is essentially just kind of go through this thing, roll it over. And by roll it over, I mean a lot. So, that one there. And basically just look for each cylinder to do something, anything. Okay, that one, that's the intake. This is the exhaust valve. These two are doing something. These two are doing something. So that one's got to come off. All right, I'm going to continue on here. And if it doesn't start working, I'll just start spraying. And I'll let you know if any of them come free. Whatever happens, I'll let you know. Okay, guys, bad news. I found 2 rockers that were not moving when I barred the engine over. There would be pressure on the push rod and the rocker, but it wouldn't be enough to open it. So I sprayed WD-40 on it, and I hit it with a hammer, and I heard the valve open. And it was both times, it was an exhaust valve. So I stuck my finger in the hole, and I hit it with a dead blow hammer, and I could feel the valve moving. So it's not that the valves are stuck in the guides. Now I'm worried. I mean, I'm not terribly worried. I do have a plan B, you know. But I don't want this to become a parts motor when it could be perfectly viable, right? So I'm going to have to put this thing at least a little bit together. There is oil in it. And I have this oil pressure line that was running to an old gauge, and I got it kind of poked back into the cylinder head here. And I'm going to just prime it up, and after I tighten these down a little bit, but I'm going to prime it up, rotate it over a couple times, see if I can get some oil up through it, and then see if the valves actually work. And if they don't, I think we got a wiped cam. I'm hoping it isn't, but it's kind of weird. So, again, it sat without oil for a few years, so let's put the drill to it. Let's get some oil pumped up in here and let's try it. Bad news. You'll notice I took my gloves off because there's really no sense in working on it. Number 3 exhaust over here, number 2 exhaust over here are very weak. I put it up against other ones like this one right here, which is number 1 exhaust. This one moves a lot. This one moves about half as much. This one doesn't move at all. So as much as I hate to say it, I think, unfortunately, my dad got taken by somebody who probably put, you know, a little street cam in the thing, wiped it out trying to break it in, which is why it's so clean, and then just said, well, let's just sell it to some other idiot. I'm not calling my dad that. I'm just saying that that would probably be what somebody like that would say, right? And my dad's unsuspecting, so he probably didn't know at all about this engine. So I think this thing is hurt. Not only does it not have a lot of compression on a lot of cylinders, but it also doesn't have any valve lift on a couple cylinders. So I don't think I'm going to waste my time with this. It's a good block. It is a... Let me check the casting number on it. 9... What's that? It's all rotted out. 9370014. An 014 block I know is the early 70s and typically a 4-bolt main. So this thing could be a good rebuilder if we want to do that in the future. I got some better heads we can put on it. We can reuse the intake. We could probably redo the bottom end and make it something a little bit better. Or I could go down a different route and buy a set of $650 Vevor heads from China that I've heard are actually kind of halfway decent. They're aluminum and they're already put together. I don't know, but that kind of put the brakes on this thing almost immediately. So I guess we're going to go with plan B. And I think we're just going to bolt the race motor in. I know it runs, and I know it sounds really good. Oil pressure is a little low. Just put 2050 in it, make sure it don't overheat. You'll be fine. So I think I'm just going to slap the valve covers back on it and call it quits on this thing because I don't have time to deal with it. While unfortunate, I'm glad we went through this process because I honestly am feeling kind of bad about it though because I think my dad got taken on this stuff. That transmission, I pulled the pan off it, is junk. I mean junk. I'm hoping that the chunks that I found in it are dirt that fell in because the pan was so disgusting. And it's definitely probable. It did look like stones. But there was a lot of clutch material in it, like it had gotten blown up. I didn't see any gears or anything, but it's disgusting. I have another option for that as well, just in case. And the motor, again, I kind of think he got taken. And that really pisses me off, you know? Because it's not like he was doing anything to try to screw the person or, you know, trying to chew him down on the price or anything. You know, he drove a couple states away to go get that thing. And to have, like, no compression on 6 of 8 cylinders and what looks like wiped cams or collapsed lifters, that sucks. So I think what we're going to do, just in case, to do our due diligence, we'll pull the intake off of it. Maybe I'll yank the lifters out in the offending parties. And if that says bad news, then we're done for the night. I think we're going to be pretty much done with this thing. So let me pull this thing apart just at least to look at it. It's worth at least pulling the intake off of it and just kind of getting a peek at it. But at this point, I'm less than impressed. You can tell by the look on my face that the news is not good. So I pulled the lifters out of the offending parties and complete junk. And complete junk again. If I find the person who sold this engine to my father, I hope they're dead. Because I will kick their ass so hard, my foot will find their taste buds. So now what? This has now become a parts motor because in order for me to put more stuff into it, it's just going to cost me even more money that I don't feel like putting into it because I've already sank so much into this thing and I've never even left the rear axle. So I think we got to go back to putting the race motor in. What do you think? Because I don't feel like messing around with this thing anymore. This motor is now a boat anchor. The heads are garbage. They're those stupid A82 heads that are... if I could call them something, they would be the best of the worst. That's not a great distinction. The intake is a Hawaiian intake. It's not even that good. The bottom end is clearly just a truck motor that somebody put together or just changed the gaskets on. And it's just a piece of crap. Like, yeah, it's really clean, but the thing barely makes any compression in a few cylinders. The cam lobes are wiped out. I tried to pump oil pressure up into this thing. I was using my drill for like 5 minutes and no oil came to the top end. Parts motor. I'm just going to yank the freaking dipstick out of it. I'm going to yank the oil pan off of it. It's a good rebuilder, but it's not going in this truck. Now I have to hope that this transmission works. If I get in there and find broken gears, then we're done for completely. Absolutely hammered. I can change, all the plans that I have. We can make this work no matter what. It's just that the further I go along, the further away from my dad's vision we get. But you know what? He would have run into these problems too, and what would he have done? Well, he'd have to figure it out, and that's what we're doing. So on that crushing defeat, I am going to go inside for the night because I don't really have any parts. Oh well. So I'll catch you guys tomorrow. All right, it is the next day, and I have parts in that I didn't expect until next week. We got leaf springs. They're heavy, by the way. I didn't realize how heavy these damn things were. So those are, I think I bought a kit from Speedway Motors, and it was made specifically for this era truck, 49 to 53. And apparently it is a 4-inch lowering kit as well. It's going to drop the truck like 4 inches. I've also got this box full of parts that came open, so that's pretty great. You can see all these fasteners just kind of free-ranging in here, which I've already taken pictures of. U-bolts, saddles, came with shocks, which is pretty great. Other parts, pieces, bolt-on stuff that I don't know where this goes, but whatever. It's there. And I also got the cross member here for the shock mounts. That'll be bolt in as well, or weld in, or I'm not sure how that goes, but either way, I'm going to have to put it in. So that means I have to find a way to get the bed off as well. And I'm also working on the motor still, as you can plainly see. Now, I think what I'm going to do is just kind of do one thing at a time. We're working on the motor before. Why don't we just keep working on it? Because if we get sidetracked with other jobs and things that we're doing, we're going to lose sight of what we're actually trying to get done here. I have a lot more parts on the way as well. I have steering parts. I have brake components, pedals. I've got a lot of stuff coming. And this is getting expensive, man. I mean, this is a lot. Like, this feels like I'm building another race car again. This is crazy. Anyway, I got to get the oil drained out of both engines, and I have to swap the oil pan onto that one. And then I got to try to find a way of getting a dipstick into that engine as well. Now, I'm concerned with what they used to plug off the dipstick tube on the race motor that's sitting over here. But it doesn't look like it's solid. It doesn't look like somebody tried to weld it shut, which is really hard to do on cast iron. But we're going to try to find a way to get that out. I don't know if I have to drill it, punch it, do whatever I have to do to get that out, but we'll figure it out. I have to first put this old motor back together right after I unearth it. I was thinking about getting another engine stand from my brother because he had one spare hanging around. But I figured, why don't I just put the intake back on and then take the engine hoist outside and just lift it up, get underneath it, and just pull the pan off from there. And I'm going to have to pull the flex plate off as well. I mean, I'm not too sure how these torque converters made up, but I'm pretty sure I'm probably going to have to push out the throwout bearing that's in the back of that crank. Not a huge deal. I'm going to do it anyway just to be safe. But that's what we're going to do. We're going to keep sight on what we're doing, stay focused, and just keep moving forward. I feel like I'm starting to get an idea of what happened with this engine. I used my really cheap but very useful Temu borescope that plugs into my phone, and I have to wipe it off. Oh, good grief, that thing is oily. It's probably covered in Marvel Mystery Oil, but that's okay. It'll be all right. I used that borescope to check out not only the cylinder, but the pistons as well, just to kind of get an idea of what was happening here. Now, on the number 2 and the number, 5? 3 cylinders. they both were wiped out. The exhaust lobes are wiped out. So I took and I looked at this piston, and if I remember to, hopefully, I'll include the pictures. No promises. Sometimes I forget. But I took a look at the piston, and I noticed that there were 2 marks that looked like valves touching the piston on this cylinder. And I'm wondering, I'm like, I bet you that bent the valve and that wiped the cam out. Because what I'm thinking happened is, by judging by the cylinder's crosshatch, because there is some crosshatching in this thing. Now consider there's crosshatching and that the heads are this clean and it's got an aftermarket intake on it. What I think somebody did was, I bet you they did a quick and dirty backyard rebuild of this. Now what I mean by that is, they dragged it in their shop, cleaned it up, put it on an engine stand, maybe put bearings in it, doubtful. Maybe put cam bearings in it, really doubtful. Maybe they put a cam in it, I don't know, I'd have to tell by popping the cover off, it's probably factory. But they cleaned it up, they probably put a dingle ball hone through the cylinders real quick to clean it up. Slapped the pistons and rods back in it. Maybe they re-ringed it and bearinged it. Just quick and dirty. Slapped some clean heads on it. Went out. Probably ran it very lightly. Probably got a little aggressive on the old shift. Bent a couple valves. Wiped the cam out. And said, well, that sucks. And they just kind of took it out and stuck it on the side and didn't want to deal with it anymore. So that's pretty much what I'm thinking happened with this engine, because the cylinders are very clean. They only have very light use. There's no real scarring up and down in them. Pistons look factory. So I don't know. Again, this thing's probably a good rebuilder. I bet you if I put a set of cylinder heads on it and a fresh cam, it would probably make just fine. It would probably be a great truck motor. Just stick it in a truck somewhere, let her run. Maybe that's a project for a different day. Today, that ain't that day. Intake's back on. We're going to lift her up, get the oil pan taken off of it. Hopefully we can get that done. And I'm really hoping I can get that done quickly because it's freezing out. You can tell by my breath that keeps getting into the shot because I got the heater on, at least taking a little bit of the chill out. But when it does that, then you get that after effect. So let me get this thing in the air as high as it'll go and see if I can get this pan off. I have another junk pan sitting over here that I don't want for anything, and I'm just going to slap that on it just to be able to put it back on the ground. But if I can get this pan off, then at least I can stick it back on the ground and get the hell back out of here and get the heat back on so that I can get back to work on the other engine, which is nice and comfy on a stand that I can rotate over and do whatever I want with. Well, since I used the wrong setting on my camera, and now I have 60,000 pictures of me doing this instead of time-lapse, which I could probably turn into one, but I'm not going to because that takes a long time. Pan is off. It was a very cold and dark affair because it's dark out, and these lights are blocked by the door when I open it, which was a design flaw, I understand. Maybe I should put them at the corners instead, but it is what it is. Pan's off. Junk pan's on. I even managed to get the dipstick out, and I was able to, oh God, it's disgusting now, but I was able to get the dipstick tube that you slide in there. I got that out too. Luckily that didn't come out with any sort of real problems. Now, I mentioned before that this was a 014 block, and when I looked it up, it said, oh, they were from early 70s, and they were mostly 4-bolt mains. And I'm like, maybe this one is. Wrong. This is a 2-bolt main engine. So, it's even more of a boat anchor than I thought. I say that, but you know what? The race motor that I'm putting in, that's sitting over there, is also a 2-bolt main engine. And I have twisted the guts off of that thing more times than I'd ever really wanted to admit. I've put that thing over $7,000 a lot. And it's still running fine. I won a bunch of races with that thing too. But this thing's good as a truck motor. We can rebuild it, I'm sure. There's something we can do with it. So we'll figure out what to do with it in the future. But I'm going to go move this drain pan and the oil pan that's draining into the drain pan over to the race motor and get the drain pan under that and drain the pan on that one so I can swap 2 pans while the drain pan's under it, draining the oil out of both pans. Then I'll come back tomorrow because I bet you the gasket's pretty good because I just put it on and it's one of them nice one-piece design guys. And I'll just swap that out, put the regular pan on it, see what we can do about the dipstick. Got to figure out that. And hopefully it'll be all drained out. It's so cold out, I bet it's not going to be, but it'll be better than nothing, and we can get back at this tomorrow. All right, it's the next day, and I fear I may have made a mistake, and one that's going to delay me. Now, I did not take into account the age of this engine and the age of that engine. Because if I had, I would have figured out, hey, the dipstick tube may be on the wrong side. This one's a left-handed one because it is an older engine. That one is a newer engine, and it is on the right side, which you can see right there. This pan I took off, you can see, there it is on the left side. Oops. Well, that might have stopped us before we even got started. However, there is a little bit of hope. The pan that I put on this engine, it's a circle track pan. It's got baffles and stuff in it. However, it is set up to be a right-hand side dipstick. Now, I know there's all sorts of windage and baffling and all sorts of different stuff in there, and why don't we at least take a look? You know, I got the oil drained out. It's been draining all night. It's got 2050 VR1 in it, so it's going to be a little thick. So I let her drain overnight. Unfortunately, this pan that I took off is now completely useless in this application, but it's still a good pan. I can always put it in the shelf. It's not a huge deal. So I'm going to clean this thing off, plug it up, pull that oil and dump it in the proper receptacle. And I figure at least try it, right? I mean, if it doesn't work for us, then it doesn't work for us. I can go on Speedway, pay $40, get another pan, figure it out. But if this, even with all the windage and circle track stuff in it, works, maybe we'll give it a shot anyway. I already have it. Why spend money on another one? And it's not like I got another motor to put it on. So let's at least try it before we move on to something else. Well, the decision has been made. I don't think we're going to use this pan. It's a really nice oval track pan. It's got a little condensation in it. I'd love to put it in the parts washer, clean it up, but the windage scraper there probably is in the way of the dipstick. So I don't feel like removing that or ruining this really nice oval track pan with the baffles in it and everything. I think I'll just kind of put it aside. If we ever have an open motor, we could use it, but you know what? I'll just kind of hang on to it for now. Just put it on the shelf like everything else. Longtime viewers of the channel may remember this thing, but to those of you who are new, this is my old race motor out of my old street stock. It is a 2-bolt main, but it is studded 2-bolt main, so it's got, you know, long studs instead of bolts in it. It's got big head fasteners on it. It's got, I think, a scat crank, eagle rods, Wiseco pistons, ARP fasteners. It's got all, just, you name it, it's got really nice stuff in it. I think it's got a Howard's cam. I'm not too sure what I bought for it, but I've twisted this thing to 7,000 RPM a few times, and yeah, it's held it, but, you know, you got a 2-bolt main, you got to kind of worry a little bit, so she'll be the perfect motor to put back in my dad's truck project because, well, he's the one who bought this thing. and commissioned for it to be built. So we're going to put a different oil pan on it, a stock one. I don't think I'm going to change the pickup because why bother? It's the same size pan for that as it would be stock. Whatever. This is an 80 to 85 block, so I'm going to have to get a right-hand dipstick for that. Plus, I'm going to just buy another dipstick for it because this one is made to fit the older trucks, or at least the older motors, I should say. And it doesn't fit this one, so I'm going to have to get one for this block as well. And that'll solve a lot of our problems, but it kind of stops me with motor work for today. But we're not done with regular work because I got a whole lot of parts in. And I got the whole rear suspension. I've got I don't even know. I haven't even opened this box up yet. You can see my toolbox and this massive thing sitting on the ground right next to it. I got my big shipment from Rock Auto in, and longtime viewers of the channel will remember when I made a whole bunch of people mad talking about Rock Auto. Even though, for whatever reason, I don't know why they got mad, I wasn't complaining. I was just pointing out that I got parts from the 1990s. And the entire internet jumped on me and down my throat for it for no obvious reason, because apparently they need to save Rock Auto from people like me, even though I've been keeping them in business single-handedly since they started. So I'm going to open this thing up, see what the hell's in there. Okay, there we go. Wow. Whole lot of air in this thing. Oh, boy. All right, so it looks like front caliper. That's good. A lot of these things. Brake pads, front calipers, brake hose for the front, another brake hose for the front, 2 fuel pumps because parts suck nowadays, so I figured I'd buy that. Alright, what are you? Looks like a transmission rebuild kit. Let me get that thing open. Yes, sir, that's what it is. Nice new filter. I think that's a filtration unit. Yeah, that's actually mesh. Okay, that's good. I even bought the ones with the bands, so at least I did the whole damn thing. I should have got a shift kit. I think I still will, just because I don't need to remove anything to do that. Alright, bushings. That'll be fun to put in if I do that. All the steel and all the clutches, all the O-rings, all the gaskets. That looks good to me. Now I just need to hop on YouTube and find somebody willing to tell me how to do it. I think I mentioned it before, but I have rebuilt automatic transmissions in the past with relative success. I say relative success because I actually ended up wearing it out. I have a Dodge, if you're new to the channel, I have a Dodge Ram 2500 Cummins 12 valve that has a 47 RE. I rebuilt it myself, but I didn't put a shift kit in it, which would have saved me a lot of trouble in the future because it would have actually taken care of a lot of the problems that they have. It would have had a lot more line pressure, and it would have gripped the clutches better and had more clamping force, and I wouldn't have had to rebuild it again, which I didn't do. I actually had somebody else do it because it had broken down on me after the first race of this season and left me stranded in the pits, and I waited 6 hours for AAA to come and get me because, of course. So I had that rebuilt, and the guy who rebuilt it did a really nice job and put a shift kit in it. So now it throws you into the back seat every time it shifts. But anyway, I think I'll still order a shift kit for this, but that transmission kit's in, so now we can do that. We also have the brake parts so that we can do that whenever that happens, but I was already on Rock Auto, and I'm like, well, I need all these things. I might as well buy them all at once, right? So there's that. We have to shift focus, though. So I think we're going to start at the rear end of the truck. That means I got to go get the rear end housing out of my shed, get this thing up in the air somehow because the frame rails are 10 feet off the ground, and get the rear end out. And if you haven't noticed, my shop's a little bit small, and that's not going to be easy to do. So once I figure that out, hopefully we can start moving forward. A thought occurs. If I'm going to be doing work on this rear end with this kit, the rear suspension, the bed has to be off of this thing. And I don't know how to do that because this isn't a factory bed. I can see it's bolted in here to the frame. That's fine. That's great. I'm glad. Because if it's bolted on, at least I can take it off Hopefully. My issue is I'm looking over here at this bed frame that somebody else created. Not my dad. We bought it this way. And I move this thing. It's welded in. That brings me a little bit of pause because now I don't know what to do with that. Is it bolted, oh God, through the bed for the fenders? You know what? It might be because there's a carriage bolt here that doesn't go anywhere. So I'm thinking it's got carriage bolts through the bed that hold the fenders on. We might just take those off first. But I don't know how it's put together. So that's half the battle here. Again, I'm looking around. Bracket looks like it is bolted to the bed. I don't know if they welded it. It sure would be nice if it was just unbolt the bed and take it off. But again, I see weld marks. That's not good. And I don't know what's underneath it. Terrific. What do we got up in here? No clue. Huh? Anything? Nope. Oh, I can't see a thing. Oh, this is going to be a real fun project. So I figured out I need a jack underneath the rear end because of where I put the jack stands. Because there's no engine or weight in the truck. It's literally a teeter-totter. I could push down on it because there's so much weight and crap in the bed of this thing that I've been pulling out that it will flip over backwards on top of me. So the jack's going to be there until I can get these tires outside. By the way, if you own a 1940, whatever year these things started, what were they, 1948 to 1953? If you own one of these trucks, you want some wheels, hit me up. Also, the rear end is good, except for that, thing that got cut off. You could take the gears out. The rear end itself is still good. Hit me up again. I'll give them to you for real cheap because I don't need them and I don't want them to go to waste. But either way, if you look up here, the bed is welded to the chassis. So that's pretty great. So I had to come up with a plan for how do I get access to the frame rails so that I can get to work on the rear suspension, because they said you got to take the bed off in order to get the work done. Well, I figured out that somebody put this bed together with wood slats and they're bolted in to the frame, well, to this frame here, and to the fender. So I'm like, well, I'll just unbolt the wood on both sides and knock it out, and then I have access to the frame. So I think I'll just try that. It's always these weird random hurdles that you run into when you're trying to get a project like this off the ground that you just got to try to find a way around. And that takes up all of your time. It's like trying to work on something and then forgetting where you put your tools, and then you spend 3/4 of your time working on that project trying to find the tools that you just put down. That's pretty much what's going on right here. So I'm going to try to knock those out. Hopefully we can get some progress made. Yeah, that did it. And this ain't even special. Look at this tongue and groove. This is like scrap wood that somebody found. See, somebody just kind of welded this to this kick plate that's on the running board, and it's welded the bracket through there onto the chassis. Good grief. I mean, I guess it took some creativity to make this thing, but man, you might as well just bought a damn bed from Classic Industries or something. I don't know, but now I got to go rinse and repeat on the other side because I think the mounting kit for that new leaf spring setup is these 3 bolts here. So, and I know, well, actually, I say bolts. They are not bolts. These are rivets. Now I got to go take the bed apart on the other side, gain some access, and then I think I'm going to start unboxing that kit just to figure out what's in it and what I got to do next. With both sides opened up and nothing else taken off, I got the whole rear suspension kit except for the leaf springs. They're still standing up over there. They're heavier than heck. I found all the instructions. My only problem is I don't know if I have all my bolts or nuts or anything. Sure would be nice to know if I had those. But I should have just sent an email to Speedway, but that would slow me down at this point. I got each side kind of segregated over here. But now's the time to throw sparks. And if you're anything like me, And if you're new to my channel, welcome. But I'm on a budget too. I have a plasma cutter, and you might be saying, "Oh, Mr. Fancy." Yeah, you're right, I am. But I've also got Harbor Freight welders and an Amazon, yes, Amazon, plasma torch. I got it on a Harbor Freight setup, like this cart. I'm going to take the plasma torch, which, yes, I know, you also need an air compressor. One of the most important things you could ever buy are tools. Granted, yeah, you kind of need a place to use them in, but tools. Now, if you can't afford a lot of this stuff, my suggestion is find your local garage sale or flea market or whatever and start out used. You can get it at a fraction of the price or estate sales. Go find someone who's recently died who had tools. We're going to have to try a bunch of times to find them. Family's getting rid of stuff out of the garage. They don't want it. You can probably pick it up for a song. Go do that first, and then maybe you can get to that point. Eventually work your way into new stuff, whatever the case is. But get yourself something that you can work with. You don't necessarily need a plasma torch for this. It's going to help me a lot because you can use a cutoff wheel and cut those out. These rivets here all have to go, and there's 2 on the bottom. And in the back, same deal. But in order for me to get there, I also need to get that cut off. So let's get this thing set up. Let's get the air hose out. Let's start throwing sparks. Finally. Looky there. She is off all the way. I even had to cut the shock off, which kind of sucks, but what are you going to do? Oh, I just realized I think that parking brake mount also needs to be cut free. That sucks. Oh well. This one right here, because it's like mechanical. When you pull the parking brake, it pulls this like lever up front, and it's an actual like rod and lever mechanism. And there's one here, and it goes to a cable that runs down into your drum. And there's one exactly the same on the other side, and there's a big rod that goes right through the middle of the truck with these little clamps on them, and that's how your e-brake works. Well, we ain't running that in this thing. Just put her in park and hope for the best. But I got to cut that free, and I got to go cut the other side free. But look, past the point of no return now. And this kit that I have here has all the mounts, and all of them actually line up with the rivet holes in the chassis, which is pretty cool. Pretty neat design. And like in the front, you got the 3 that are right there, and then I think these bottom ones might mount up into something. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't. You know what? I'm looking at it now. It doesn't look like that e-brake thing has to go anywhere. I didn't think it would, because what if you're still using the e-brake? You know, what if it's still functional? So I guess I don't have to cut that off. So that made my life a little bit easier. But we'll make sure the rivets are all hammered out. Plasma torch makes life pretty easy, but you really got to dig them out, and then you got to use like an air hammer to knock the rivets out, and really kind of a pain, but we're getting through it, and I'd really like to have this rear end out before the end of the night. But the end of the night's coming pretty quick. Now we've hit a roadblock yet again, because that's what we do with every project that we didn't do, that we had to clean up after somebody else. This is not my dad's fault, okay? This is the fault of whoever owned this truck before him. Let me show you. As I am cutting these rivets out of this plate here, this triangular little plate, I noticed there's another plate that is welded to the frame that's also welded all the way around this axle mount. Or no, this leaf spring mount. I'm sorry. How the hell am I going to get that off? Number one, who did that? Because I want to kick them square in the ass for this. But number two, how am I going to get that off? This is going to require a whole lot of delicate cutting, and I don't have time for that tonight. But you get this type of thing all the time when you have projects like this. You always have to clean up someone else's idiocy because they had the belief that, that ain't going nowhere. If someone else has to deal with it, that's their problem. That's their problem. Will come back to bite you more often than I'd really care to admit. So I'm cleaning up, and I need to get out of this smoke haven because I went through a whole bunch of oil, grease, and grime to get through to that spot, and now it's killing me. So I'd like to evacuate and go eat some pizza, as if I need it. But after that, I want it, because that's really irritating. So I'm going to try to come back tomorrow and see what else we can get done, because I want this damn rear end out. We need to make progress. Okay, it's the next day. I don't know where my microphones went. Irrelevant at this moment. I did get more parts, though. Inside this box right here is my steering kit. I say that in very, very vague words. But this is a Mustang manual steering rack, because I figure the size of the steering wheel is about the same size as a cruise liner. So, and plus, this truck and these old trucks, like these old cars in general, about this era, I'd say late 40s, early 50s, they ain't made of a lot. Like, this thing is very lightweight. Like I said, when I put the jack stands under it without an engine in it, it was teeter-tottering. So, and plus, there's not a lot left of it anyway. So, with that big of a steering wheel, and with it being a manual rack that's made to be a manual rack, I figure it'd be enough. If I want to change it to a power rack in the future, it'll be really easy because it's just a Mustang rack. Just chuck another one in there, put a power steering pump and some hoses on, and we'll be good. But for ease of getting this thing just on the damn road, manual rack, good enough. So I got to get back here and get to work on, I don't want to, but trying to figure out how to cut this off. I don't know who welded that crap to it. I don't know what the hell happened here. I'm going to go inside and make sure that the frame isn't like rotted out and somebody tried to plate over it or something, because the rest of the frame looks fine. It looks like a 70-year-old truck. So I'm going to get under it, take a look, and then I'm just going to keep cutting. I'm probably going to have to get the manual cutter out here. And oh, God, this is going to suck. But if I can get that cut off and I can get that rear end out of here and chuck it outside, hopefully somebody wants it and can come grab it. You know what? If you want to give me anything for it, I'll take that at this point. But I know it's worth something to somebody, so I don't want to just throw it away. But if I can get this out and get that other rear end housing out of the shed, cut all the mounts off of that and get that ready, boy, we're going to be in some business here. So I'm just kind of waiting on some stuff. I can get the housing in. The only issue is I don't have the axle bearings yet because I'm waiting on Quick Performance. And I know their turnaround time, if you don't tell them to rush, is kind of slow. And I don't really have time to wait. So really like them to get off their butts and do it quick. I do like those guys, though. They are really cool. I don't want to bother them, though. But I got to get to work. We got to stop talking and get this thing cut out. Now out. Well, mostly out. It's on the ground and it's not attached to the truck anymore. In my book, that's out. Now the question is how do I get it all the way out? This thing's heavy. There are so many things on this truck that I'd really like to kick somebody square in the crotch over. But since I don't know who they are, I can't. And that's the most frustrating part of this. However, now we can actually start getting to work for realsies, even though this is, well, this is work. Let's not shortchange ourselves here. This is a lot of work, but that's a big step because now all I have to do is basically hammer out the rivets after I get the rear end out of here. Just hammer out rivets, clean up the area, and then we can start bolting the kit in. And that's really awesome. Plus, I got to get the rear end ready. But I think all that's going to have to wait for another video because, well, I've run out of time for this one. So I do these every week, and I got to shut it down about Saturday night so I can get this thing out to you. I'm going to spend some time cleaning up the shop because I literally cannot even move in here. It's so bad. I can barely move in my own shop. I have torn this place to shreds, and I need to take a moment and just kind of put it back together. But thank you guys. And all you new people who have joined up, thank you all as well. I greatly appreciate every single one of you. My last video at this moment has done about 8,000 views, which for me is pretty good. In the terms of YouTube, I know people who get 1 million. That's fine. I know we're small potatoes on this platform. That's fine. You know, I'm trying to build a little community here about how to do things yourself. And if you're new to the channel, by the way, I do race as well. Like I said, I race at Stafford Motor Speedway here in Connecticut. We just came off of a Rookie of the Year season, and I put that in air quotes, the rookie part. We had 2 wins and a whole bunch of top 5s, 10s, finished 4th in points. Not bad for a first year. We're going to be going back this year. And the way that you can help out is by not only subscribing, which a lot of you have in the last week or so, and that's really great. I'm hoping you guys hang around for these videos because this is going to be a project, but now that we're starting to get parts off of it and starting to put new parts on, I think it's really going to start snowballing. I have a lot of parts on order that are on their way, and they're going to be here very soon. We got a lot of fabricating to do. We got a lot of bolting on, and we got a lot of fun stuff coming right up. Like, I've got a new oil pan and a dipstick for this thing. I got the rear end outside that we got to clean up. I got that new suspension kit for the rear, which includes a shock tower. We're going to have to weld that in. I've got front end parts to put in. I got steering components. You name it, I got it. So we're going to be getting to work here really quick. Hopefully this thing starts snowballing rather soon. And a way that you can support us is not only by subscribing, which you've done, but by sharing and by going to GleasonBrosRacing.com. That's my merch store. That has the race team, then other channel items. I can barely spit that out because I'm so overcome with fumes around. You can tell. It's been bad. But we got t-shirts, hats, koozies, tumblers, stickers, you name it. We got new polo shirts. The hats are great. The stickers are fixed, by the way. I did get some test pieces in, and they are fixed. So that's a good thing. Everything should be good to go on the site. GleasonBrosRacing.com. Click on the merch store tab and really help me out. By the way, the prices are low for really high quality stuff, so please help me out there and grow this thing. And thank you all again for watching. I'll keep it short. Until next time.